This question is on the topic of chemical bonding. So we are given an unfamiliar covalent compound, disulfur dichloride, and we're supposed to use the concepts of chemical bonding or covalent bonding to find out which structure is actually correct. Now, the most direct way to solving this question is actually to draw out the dot and cross diagram for each of the structure and find out which one in which every single atom has a completely filled valence shell. Okay, but this method is very tedious. There's actually a shorter method to it, and the shorter method involves finding out the valency of each atom. What do I mean by valency? Valency means the number of electrons an atom needs to gain, lose, or share in order to have a stable configuration. Okay, so we have learned this in chemical bonding. Group 1 to 8, the valency will look something like this. Okay, group 1 will tend to lose 1 electron, group 2 lose 2, group 3 lose 3, group 4 will tend to gain 4, group 5 will tend to gain 3, group 6 gain 2, group 7 gain 1. Alright, so these numbers that I've just written down represents the valency of an atom of that element in that particular group. Okay, so what the valency can tell us will also be the number of bonds that it can form. So if we look at the two elements involved here, we have sulfur. Sulfur is in group 6. What it means is that it needs to share, it needs 2 more electrons to become stable, so it tends to share 2 electrons. What do I mean by share 2 electrons? Means that it tends to form 2 covalent bonds. Now if we look at the other atom, is chlorine. Chlorine is in group 7. Group 7 needs 1 more electron in order to become stable, so it tends to share 1 electron. And what it means is that chlorine tends to form 1 covalent bond. Okay, so with that in mind, that sulfur needs to form 2 bonds to become stable, chlorine needs to form 1 bond to become stable. We can inspect the structure, each one of them. So which one is it that the atoms actually forms the required number of bonds? Alright, we will be able to find that the correct answer would be A. Alright, if we look at A, each sulfur has 2 lines coming out from it, and each chlorine has 1 line coming out from it. Okay, so if you are not convinced, let's look at a wrong answer. We can look at, for example, B. If you look at B, this particular chlorine has 2 lines coming out from it. That means that this chlorine is forming 2 bonds. So that is not correct, because chlorine only needs 1 more bond for it to have a stable configuration. Okay, similarly, if we look at D, chlorine is forming 2 bonds to sulfur. This is not correct. And in C, we also see a chlorine atom that forms 2 bonds, and that is also incorrect.